afternoon, Dr. Williams. We will speak to you today, Procter & Gamble, USA, Kobe, Japan. Procter & Gamble went into Japan in 1973 by way of 50%. They bought 50% interest in Nippon Sun Home. And I will turn it over now to V, and she will give you the overview of the information that we have for you.
My name is V Nguyen. Procter & Gamble is a multinational consumer good corporation, and it's headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio. Procter & Gamble manufacture and market more than 200 products and selling the products in more than 130 countries. One of the product lines is going to be the fabric care with mainly well-known brand Gia, Downy, Ty, Eros, and etc.
Hi, my name is Kayla Warren, and I will be talking about how Procter & Gamble entered the Japanese market. In 1973, Procter & Gamble bought a 50% stake of the third largest laundry detergent producer called Nippon Sun Home. They entered that market and they decided to sell their Cheers product, which they still currently sell in Japan. And once they started to do that, their competitors Kyle Line and Unicharm began to mimic their products. So because of that, they were forced to rearrange their product. They then, by 1980, bought the whole entire company of Nippon Sun Home, and that became their first wholly owned subsidiary in Japan. And then by 1983, they relaunched their Cheers product by saying that it was very sudsy and that it will give the fabric a good clean. And after that, their first launch, their product began to do very poorly because in the Japanese culture, they use fabric softener and they also wash their clothes in cold water. So because of that, Procter & Gamble decided to rearrange Cheers to make sure that the product works in all temperatures and it'll be able to combat with fabric softener, so it will create the suds that the Japanese would like to have, and which is what Procter & Gamble promoted when they promoted their Cheers product in Japan.
The ride in Japan has not been always easy for Procter & Gamble. With headquartered in Kobe, the company was severely affected by the Hanshin earthquake in 1995, and some other brands have faced turbulence caused by the regulatory violation by the government. And also, however, B&G have always maintained to manage the trust in the consumers.
And when it comes to Japan and their laws, they are considered to be a regulatory pillar. They go by laws and regulations, and some of the laws that are required for Procter & Gamble to enter their market was that they had to become a joint venture, which is what they did in 1973, which means they can own 50% of a stake of a Japanese company that is currently already there. This eliminates the risk of foreignness for many people to do business. And this also improves to the Japanese people that, okay, you currently have a business here, which means you know how business works here, which means we will allow you to do business here more often. And also, they are also considered to be a normative pillar because they flow off of cultures. And many of the things with the Japanese culture is that telling the truth is something that they live by. They live by your word. So because of that, Procter & Gamble rearranged their product to go by their word, because if it's not, it'll be the product that they produce there, such as Cheers, wouldn't do as well because of the ideas and the things that they promoted during their commercials.
So one of the key to the company global success is the company focusing on transforming the way that product is seen, and also through communication by providing educational information. As Kayla mentioned before, through market research, B&G found out that a lot of Japanese consumers like to use cold water to wash their clothes. And then she is now promoted as effectively work with in all temperatures and produce a lot of suds. Also, as in Japan. Also, many other consumer want to wash their clothes with stronger powder cleaning products. So that's why Gia Lounge Aero is gonna be the other anti-bacterial version with but have B&G's market up to 20% by the early of 2000s.
Well, my name is Paula Jackson again, and I'm here to speak with you on Procter & Gamble's strength, their weakness, their opportunities, and their threats within the Japan, Obi and Kobe, Japan, with their product, Tide. Tide, Procter & Gamble, first of all, stands behind their brand. They stand behind their brand, so therefore, they knew when they were brought their company over into Japan that they had the resources to do business in that region. So therefore, they knew that they had what? They were up against competition with 3 other major companies, but they knew their opportunities over there were great. First of all, they knew that they can do business over there because of the barriers, the barriers that the policies that they were supposed to do before they enter into the country. So therefore, they dealt with that before they got into that region. Second, they stand behind that brand because it was known back in 1959 that this company, they brought a new brand out to the company, to everybody, especially started in the U.S. It started in the U.S. as a new and a wild venture. They knew that this was going to make their company grow even further. So therefore, as the company growed, it grew nationally, so they wanted to move abroad. So when they moved abroad, they went into a region with Japan. Japan has a large amount of people that lives in that country. So they wanted to bring their brand for growth. That's the only reason why they were in that region. So they wanted to grow that brand over there. They grew that brand over there. They can go other places and grow their brand. But we're specifically speaking on Procter & Gamble in that region. They had the resources. They had the people. People meaning they had families that wanted to wash their clothes. But they brought in a market brand of saying that we can do better than your leading brand. Our brand will make your clothes cleaner and brighter than the brand you're using. So that was one of their contexts of why that brand is strong. The other one is why their brand is strong is because they had diversification. They had diversification to move into that region because they had people that can speak that language, knew that culture over in that language. That's why they were strong. Number 2, we're going over into the weakness. The weakness of Procter & Gamble in that region was they weren't still able to move into the number 1 slot. It was the cost. Their cost and Procter & Gamble's cost and Japan's costs were totally different. They were already using a brand. Why use this brand? Why use Procter & Gamble's brand? And we have a brand that's working, washing our clothes is equally as good as Procter & Gamble. So they're still working on that. Secondly, in today's society, which is the millennials are using detergent, but do Procter & Gamble have a Tide that is green? Everybody's going green because of the skin condition. Some people don't want to use certain detergents to do what? It damages the skin. So they haven't brought up that. The competitiveness over there. They are not able to compete with that number 1, 2, and 3 brand that they have in that region. The opportunity was set over there because of how many people that lived and lives in that country. So they have the resources to have to put their product over in that country. And I want to speak with you on the threats of the Procter & Gamble. The Procter & Gamble has the limitations on counterfeiting their product. People, they're inferior about someone can counterfeit that product and then put their name on that product, which is imitatable. that put their name on that product and then use that product line, and then they can make money, much as money that Procter & Gamble wanted to use. So in order for me to continue this conversation, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Shakira.
Hi, my name is Shakira Ross, and I will be going over the financial dynamics of Procter & Gamble Japan. Japan is the third largest economy in the world. Procter & Gamble is a multinational enterprise that federally directs in the economy. In the year of 2019, Procter & Gamble reported a $17.4 billion overall profit for the company in Japan. This was a 13% raise since from the last year. The home and fabric segment brought in 6% of this value. There was also a $1.25 billion increase for the diluted net sales, not including acquisitions and foreign exchanges.